There are moments that just shatter your world. For me, it was finding out that the two people I trusted most, my best friend and my partner, were secretly dating behind my back. This is the story of that double betrayal. It's about how the two pillars holding up my life crumbled at the exact same time, and how I had to learn to stand on my own in the rubble. This isn't just a story about a breakup, it's about a loss so profound it makes you question everything you thought was real. Before everything shattered, my world was, well, it felt perfect. My life was built around two people, Liam and Chloe. Liam was my partner of 4 years. He wasn't the big, romantic gesture type. His love was in the quiet, steady things. The way he'd make me coffee every single morning, exactly how I liked it, without me ever having to ask. The way he'd actually listen for hours about my day, remembering the names of my coworkers and all the dumb office drama. We were building a life together, this comfortable, loving rhythm that felt like home. We talked about the future not in maybes, but in whens. When we'd get a dog, when we'd buy a house, when we'd finally take that trip to Italy. Our relationship felt like a fortress, like nothing could ever get in. And then there was Chloe. My best friend since we were kids, trying to survive middle school. She was less of a friend and more like a part of me. Chloe was the keeper of all my secrets, the only person who understood my moods without me saying a word and could always finish my sentences. Our friendship was just this tapestry of 1,000 little moments, late-night calls, sharing clothes, crying on each other's shoulders over everything from bad grades to family fights. She was the first person I called with good news and the first person I ran to with bad news. She was supposed to be my maid of honor one day. The three of us, we were a unit. The perfect trio, or so I thought. We spent almost every weekend together. Movie nights on our couch, Chloe curled up in the armchair and me curled up against Liam. We'd go on these long hikes and get ridiculously lost, laughing the whole time. Liam used to joke that he had 2 girlfriends, and Chloe and I would laugh right along with him. It was just our dynamic. She was my sister, he was my future. I trusted them with my life, with my heart, with everything. That trust wasn't just a feeling, it was the foundation my whole world was built on. And it never, not for a single second, crossed my mind that the foundation was anything but solid rock. The idea that they could betray me wasn't just unlikely, it was unthinkable. The first crack in that foundation appeared on a Tuesday. It was so small I almost ignored it. Liam had a huge presentation at work he was super stressed about. I sent him a long, encouraging text that morning, full of heart emojis and our inside jokes. "You're going to kill it. Love you." I sent it at 8 a.m. His presentation was at 10. By noon, nothing. I texted again, "Hope it went well. Let me know when you're free." Still silence. I tried to talk myself down. He's busy. He's out celebrating with his team. But this little knot of anxiety started tightening in my stomach. By 5 p.m., with no word, the anxiety was turning into a dull, throbbing fear. This wasn't like him. He always let me know what was going on. I decided to call Chloe to vent, so she could tell me I was being crazy. She didn't pick up. That was weird, too. She always picked up. Finally, at 6 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Liam. "Hey. So sorry, crazy day. Went great. Talk later." That's it. No emotion, no details. It felt so cold. An hour later, Chloe texted me back. "So sorry. Was in back-to-back meetings and my phone died. So glad his presentation went well." The relief I should have felt just wasn't there. Instead, this strange new feeling settled in. A tiny, nagging splinter of suspicion. Why did their excuses sound so similar? So rehearsed? I shook it off. I was being paranoid. Anxious. These were the two people I trusted most in the world. For about a week, I managed to convince myself I was just being crazy. But then things got weirder. Liam grew more distant. He'd come home late, smelling faintly of a perfume that wasn't mine. He guarded his phone like it contained state secrets, angling it away from me every time it lit up. And when I'd ask him what was wrong, he'd just blame work stress. Then he started turning it on me, asking who I was texting, questioning why I was 10 minutes late coming home from the store. It was a kind of psychological warfare I just didn't get at the time. The moment I couldn't deny it anymore came 2 weeks later. It was a Friday night. Liam said he had to work late, a surprise deadline. Chloe had told me earlier in the week she was feeling sick and was just going to have a quiet night in. So I decided to surprise her. I'd show up with her favorite ice cream and a cheesy movie. A girls' night. I walked up to her apartment, humming to myself, actually feeling a little better. As I got to her door, I heard voices inside. Laughter. A man's laugh. A laugh I knew as well as my own. It was Liam's. My blood ran cold. I just stood there, frozen in the hallway, the pint of ice cream starting to melt in my hand. It couldn't be. He was working. She was sick. But I heard it again, clear as day. His voice, then hers, followed by a silence that somehow felt more intimate than any sound. I didn't knock. I couldn't move. It was like I was watching a scene from a horror movie that I was starring in. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears, this frantic drumbeat of betrayal. I backed away from the door, slow and quiet, and just stumbled down the stairs. My world wasn't cracking anymore. It had just been hit by a wrecking ball. The drive home was a total blur. My mind was just a storm of denial and sickening realization. There had to be an explanation. Right? Maybe his work thing got cancelled and he went to check on her because she was sick. A good friend, a caring boyfriend. But the sound of their laughter, it didn't sound like a wellness check. It sounded like a date. For the next few days, I lived in this fog of willful ignorance. I wanted so badly to believe the lie. I'd look at Liam's face, the face I loved, and try to see the man I knew, not the man whose laugh I heard through a door. I'd talk to Chloe on the phone, her voice a poisonous echo of the friend I thought I had. But the little things kept piling up until they became an avalanche. A receipt in his pocket for a romantic dinner for two at a place I'd never been, dated the night he worked late. The way Chloe would get all defensive and vague when I asked about her weekend. The final piece of the puzzle came from our shared tablet. He must have forgotten he was still logged into his social media. I opened it one night to look up a recipe, and there it was. His message history. Open. A thread with Chloe. My hand started shaking as I scrolled. And I saw it all. Months of it. Secret meetups. Flirty texts. Pet names. They weren't just dating, they were in a full-blown relationship. They talked about me. They picked apart my moods, my anxieties. They called me clueless in one text and paranoid in the next. And then I saw the message from Liam that will be burned into my brain forever. It's just so much easier with you. I don't know how to end it with her. And Chloe's reply, you will. Be patient. We'll have our time. I literally couldn't breathe. This wasn't a simple betrayal, this was a conspiracy. The two people I loved most had been systematically lying to my face for months, making me feel like I was crazy while they were building a life on the ruins of mine. The grief was a physical weight on my chest, but underneath it, rage started to burn. I wasn't just sad anymore. I was furious. Denial was over. It was time for a confrontation. I didn't plan it. The rage was too hot. I called Liam and told him to come home. Now. My voice was eerily calm, a tone he'd never heard from me. Then I called Chloe. I need you to come over, I said, my voice flat. It's an emergency. They showed up within minutes of each other, walking into our living room with fake concern all over their faces. What's wrong? Are you okay? Liam asked, reaching for me. I physically flinched away. "Don't," I said, my voice finally cracking. Chloe rushed forward. "What is it? Tell us what happened." I just looked at them, standing there together, the architects of my personal apocalypse. And then I held up the tablet. I didn't say a word. I just turned the screen so they could see their own messages. The silence that fell over the room was suffocating. I watched the color drain from their faces. Chloe's jaw went slack. Liam just stared, his face a stone mask. He was the first to speak, his voice a hoarse whisper. "What is that?" "Don't you dare," I hissed, the calm shattering into a million pieces of pain and anger. "Don't you dare play dumb with me. I know. I know everything." Chloe started to cry, these fake, manipulative tears that I could now see so clearly. "It's not what you think," she stammered. "We were going to tell you." "When?" I screamed, the sound tearing out of me. "When were you going to tell me? After you had another laugh about how clueless I was? Or were you going to wait until he finally got the guts to dump me so you two could ride off into the sunset? You stood in my kitchen. You hugged me and listened to me cry about how distant he was, and you knew. You knew the whole damn time." I turned to Liam, my heart just a mangled mess. "And you. 4 years. We built a life. You let me talk about our future. Was any of it real? Or was I just a placeholder until someone, easier, came along?" He couldn't even look at me. He just stared at the floor like a coward. I didn't know how to tell you," he mumbled. "I didn't want to hurt you." I laughed, but it was a broken, hysterical sound. "You didn't want to hurt me? You have destroyed me. Both of you. You took my trust and you lit it on fire. Get out. Please," Chloe sobbed. "Let's just talk." "There is nothing to talk about," I said, my voice dropping to a dead quiet. "We are done talking. Our friendship is over. This is over. Get out of my house. Both of you." Liam finally looked up, his eyes full of pathetic guilt. But it was too late. I didn't see the man I loved. I saw a stranger. He turned and walked out the door without another word. Chloe lingered, her face a mess of tears. I just pointed to the door, my hand shaking with rage. She finally left, and when the door clicked shut, the silence they left behind was the loudest sound I had ever heard. The first few days were just a hollow void. The house, our home, suddenly felt like this giant, empty tomb. Every object was a tainted memory. The coffee maker. Chloe's armchair. I walked through the rooms in a daze, feeling nothing and everything all at once. The first night, I didn't sleep. I just sat on the living room floor, letting the silence and the full weight of what they'd done settle into my bones. I hadn't just lost a partner, I'd lost my best friend. I was grieving 2 people at once, and the loneliness felt like an ocean I was drowning in. The weeks that followed were a blur of logistics and emotional fallout. Packing up Liam's things was a special kind of hell. Every shirt, every book, was a fresh stab of pain. I found pictures of the 3 of us, smiling, and I hated the girl in the picture for being so clueless, and I pitied her for the pain she was about to go through. My phone was constantly blowing up with texts and calls from them. Long, rambling apologies from Liam about how confused he was. Paragraphs from Chloe begging for forgiveness, swearing she never meant for this to happen. I didn't answer. Their words were just noise. How could I ever trust anything they said again? The healing started slowly. It wasn't some big revelation. It was a quiet moment, sitting in my silent house one afternoon when I realized the tears had finally stopped. I was just empty. And in that emptiness, a new thought appeared: their betrayal wasn't about my worth. It was about their weakness, their dishonesty, their broken characters. That thought became my lifeline. I started rebuilding, piece by piece. I called old friends I'd lost touch with. I dove into my work. I started therapy, which gave me a safe place to unpack all the trauma. I had to learn to grieve the people I thought they were, not the people they actually turned out to be. Most importantly, I had to learn to trust myself again. For months, they'd made me doubt my own gut feeling, my own sanity. I had to learn to listen to that inner voice again, the one that had been whispering that something was wrong all along. It's been over a year now. The pain isn't a raw, open wound anymore. It's a scar. It's part of me, a reminder of what I survived. I heard through the grapevine that Liam and Chloe didn't last. Shocker. I guess once the thrill of the secret was gone, their relationship crumbled under the weight of how it started. There's a bitter, poetic justice in that, but honestly, it didn't make me happy. It just made me sad for everything that was lost. The biggest lesson I've taken away from all of this is that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. People can and will let you down in ways you can't even imagine. But your own strength, your own worth, no one can take that from you. I learned how important boundaries are, how critical it is to listen to your gut, and to understand that someone else's lies are their failure, not yours. Losing the two people I thought I couldn't live without forced me to realize that I could. I had to become my own best friend and my own partner. I had to give myself the love and security I was looking for from them. And in doing that, I found a strength I never knew I had. The fortress I thought we built together was just an illusion. The one I'm building now, by myself, is real. It's solid. And it's all mine. Have you ever been through a double betrayal like this? Share your story in the comments. Reading them helps all of us feel a little less alone. Thank you for listening.